Pale Matter presents Edge of the Forgotten. Edge of the Forgotten is a horror podcast series and may contain material not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Please see the episode description for content warnings and additional details. Episode 2, The Tunnel of Love.
Remy pedals as fast as his 9-year-old legs can go, faster than he's gone before, with the urgency of survival pushing him past his limits. As he crests the small hill, he glances back, down the curvy neighborhood street, searching for any sign of those in pursuit. Nothing. But he can only afford a quick look without the risk of losing control, and so he focuses his attention on his flight. Now on the downward side of the hill and picking up speed, Remy takes a hard turn to the left, skidding through the dirt on the road and nearly meeting the unforgiving ground. His foot comes down hard to save him, bounces off the ground, almost catching the tip of the shoe and throwing him forward. Almost, but he stays upright, even at the cost of losing his momentum. After a couple of tries, he gets his feet back on the pedals and pushes deep. His breath comes in gasping waves, punctuated by a painful stitch in his right side. He's going so fast that tears streak out from the corners of his eyes in horizontal lines. His turn took him away from the houses and toward an old industrial area. It's a gamble, but a calculated one. He figures they'd expect him to stay near people, to find help. But he knows the presence of people does not guarantee safety. Having teachers nearby hasn't kept these kids from hitting him before or stealing his things. Adults don't like to look at such things, don't want to be bothered. At least he thinks so. Even his mother coming to school to complain to his teacher, his principal, whoever might listen to her, has resulted in no change at all. And so, he races past the hedge trees, dodging crumbling patches where the pavement has long since given way to weather and time, as well as the scattering of sand and gravel that now litter the unused road. He knows this route well, as it leads to his favorite place to play on his own. But he's never gone so fast or so frantically, and it takes all of his concentration to avoid the ruts and debris, and to absorb the bounces from the larger cracks in the road. He has nothing left to give, no more room in his lungs, no means to breathe any faster, and still he pushes. After a few more excruciating minutes, the road slowly curves to the right, opening up into a wide, flat, overgrown lot. At the far edge of the space, a tall cinder block wall blocks any further progress. He doesn't know why the road stops like this, how it used to be a turnaround area for trucks in the days when there used to be a couple of warehouses nearby, or how the wall keeps the hill from collapsing and toppling the old access road that runs along the top. He only knows that it has been a quiet area, within biking distance and generally safe from the neighborhood kids who have tormented him for as long as he can remember. There is, of course, the issue with the deep, dark hole that cuts into the wall. He knows even less about this hole, that it's a culvert, or that it ends on the other side of the hill after running below the road and turning to better aim at the creek beyond. He only knows that he could stand up in it if he wanted, but adults couldn't, and that some adults, or at least older kids, must have gone in there before, because the inside walls are covered in spray paint. He also knows he doesn't like it, that it unsettles him if he thought in such terms. Its darkness is too deep, and sometimes it emits a low and mournful wail when the wind hits it just right. But this is beyond his understanding. And for all of that and more, he doesn't want anything to do with it. Normally he'd just ignore it, staying a bit away. But not today. Still riding, though not much more than coasting, he rolls close to the hole before stopping. It's dark inside, but with the sun to his back, some light makes its way in. Layers upon layers of spray paint coat the walls, with the deeper layers worn or flaking away. Most of it is crude or meaningless, though one message a bit further in seems out of place, with the words, "Welcome to the Undoing," painted in white, with black edges to sharpen the appearance of each letter. Beyond that, just at the fading edge of light, a dark, swirling shape covers the wall from the ceiling to the ground. Near the entrance is one message that has clearly been painted and repainted, giving this hole its name: the Tunnel of Love. The middle O has some arrows added on top pointing into it, like some strange symbol. He's maybe 15 feet from the entrance, now standing next to his bike. He's trying to convince himself that there's nothing here, nothing dangerous. He could hide in here for a little while, he tells himself, and it'll be safer. He just has to roll in past the light and wait it out. Only a short distance, no more than a few careful steps. It's just darkness and spider webs and a trickle of water running through the middle. Take that step forward before they come for him. Move. Move. But it's too late. Behind him, the gravel stirs beneath the approaching bicycle tires. His heart had little chance of calming between the furious bike ride and contemplating the black hole, but still it has room to lurch, beating faster and louder than ever. Go, into the darkness. They won't follow you, now! He does none of these things. Instead, he turns, keeping the bike between him and his tormentors. 5 kids stand a dozen feet away, 3 no longer on bikes, 1 still getting off theirs, and the last one, the biggest kid in the middle, still casually sitting on the seat, with 1 foot on the ground. It's clear the rest take their cues from this bigger guy, and this guy keeps his focus and a cruel smile on Remy. They're all a couple of years older, but it might as well be the difference between a kid and a group of young adults. They're big for their age, and Remy is small for his. The 4 kids off their bikes spread wide, out to either side, flanking, blocking any chance to run. "I see you like the Tunnel of Love," the biggest kid says, and his buddies laugh. "Tunnel rat," one of the others yells out. Remy doesn't say anything in return, only grips the bike tighter. The pounding of his heart thunders in his ears. "We've tried telling you, there's a tax to play in the neighborhood," the leader says. "But you seem to forget. Even our reminders haven't done much good. That skull of yours must be thicker than it looks, or feels. Really, we don't ask for a lot. But maybe we should be listening to your mommy. Maybe our approach is all wrong, so we need to try something else." The others snicker at this, but have otherwise stopped advancing. They seem to realize the bigger boy has new plans. "Maybe we should try a timeout." The others laugh a bit, awkwardly, clearly not quite following his line of thinking. "You go through there," he says with a huge grin on his face, pointing behind Remy, pointing at the hole. "You go through there, to the other side, and then back here. On the far side is a pile of river rocks. Grab one of those and bring it back to me. You do that, and we'll leave you alone for an entire week. No trouble, no tax, 1 whole week. No, 2 weeks. Now Remy turns to the hole, looking at it again with fresh eyes. It's both smaller and bigger at the same time, like a dark, gaping mouth ready to swallow him up. "What do you say, boy?" The rest laugh. This is not how he wanted to face his fears. Choosing to go in on his own terms, to hide was one thing, but being forced to go made his apprehension so much worse. He knows deep down that this tunnel contains more than he had imagined if the kids were forcing him into it. They must have gone through it if they know what's on the other side, he thinks to himself. Slowly, he faces the tunnel once more and takes a hesitant step forward, his bike rolling along. "Leave the bike. We'll take care of it," says the big kid. The others burst out in uproarious laughter at this last line. "Consider it collateral. That'll make sure you come back with my rock." He looks at them all and knows that none of their promises will be kept. There is no deal, no truce, but any time bought is that much longer he stays safe. Perhaps the cost of a damaged or stolen bike is a small price to pay. He lays the bike carefully on its side and walks forward. As he nears the hole, the air stirs, like a breath coming from within, cooler, that smells faintly damp, with something odd beneath that. None of it matters, he tells himself as he presses forward. This is his path towards safety. This is inevitable. A word he doesn't quite understand, but heard his mother use it a few times when talking about why his father chose to leave them years ago. Now at the entrance to the tunnel, he notices another set of words that stand out on the wall opposite the dark swirl. Entropy is mercy. He doesn't know this word either, entropy, but feels as if this is not meant to make you feel better. Remy steps inside. It's cooler inside the tunnel, almost cold enough to warrant a jacket, and his arms ripple in goose flesh. It's all echoey. The kids' laughter and taunts from behind bounce between the walls and deeper in, but he's no longer paying them any mind. Dampness clings to everything. The walls, the air, the ground, and a thin trickle of water seeps from somewhere deep within, turning parts of the tunnel floor slick with mud and green slime. He tries watching his step, but also what's up ahead. Now fully within and before the looming darkness, he realizes he can see a bit farther ahead still. The spray paint extends deeper in, and spider webs stretch across the ceiling and nestle in the corners. He drags the fingertips of his right hand along the rough concrete wall to both stabilize him in the dark and reassure him. He wishes he had been able to talk his mom into giving him a phone or any electronic device, something to provide him with a bit of light. But she insisted she was protecting him by keeping him from such things. He was too young, it would only rot his brain, or the bullies would end up taking it. He figures they were just too poor, and that was enough of a reason. The place smells earthy, moldy, and the foul undercurrent grows a bit in strength. Something has died in here. No, many things have died in here. Now well past the reach of daylight, he has a brief temptation to turn around, to look at the others and see what they might be doing with his bike. He doesn't think he's visible this far in, but he resists the urge. If they can see him, he doesn't want to give them the satisfaction of turning around. Their voices have faded, now just dull echoes that mix with some distant drops of water and his own splattering footsteps. He gets the hint of shapes on the wall from his peripheral vision, perhaps just more graffiti this far in, but any hints as to what might be there disappear when he tries looking at them directly. He inches forward slowly, half steps, trying to be careful with the slickest parts of the tunnel floor so as not to slip, all the while keeping his fingers pressed to the wall. Several minutes slip by, with his slow shuffle step progress. He figures he must be halfway through, but there's no hint of light before him, and now he does turn around. There's nothing behind him either. Not directly, not in his peripheral. This far into the tunnel, the only sounds are trickling water, but now he also hears a high-pitched whistling sound that almost sounds like whispering. It's just the wind, he tells himself, even as he realizes he can feel no air moving past his hands and face. He reaches for the opposite wall for reassurance, to ground him here against the cool concrete, to remind him that the tunnel is not wide. But it's not there. He stretches as far as he can and then takes a tentative step, letting go of the wall behind. Still nothing. Another step and he's certain to brush against it. A third. He should have touched it by now, but all he feels with his outstretched hand is emptiness. Nothing there. Panic rises in his chest, and he steps back quickly once, twice, his hands flailing behind him to find his safety. Still, there's nothing here either. 2 more steps back, trying not to turn, clearly moving further backward than he had gone forward. But it's only emptiness on all sides. No longer worrying about the cobwebs, he reaches for the ceiling directly above him to have something, anything solid beneath his fingertips. Nothing. There is only emptiness all around, absolute darkness. The void. His breath quickens into short, gasping bursts, tears well up in the corners of his eyes, and all he wants is his mother. She who has given him all of her attention ever since his father left. Too much, really, he had often thought. She would protect him now, would tell him that everything is all right. The whispering wind rises just a bit as if in answer. It is a wispy, wet sound, but he hears, "She's not here." He goes rigid, desperately trying to hold as still as possible. His body refuses to cooperate with this, as his arms and legs begin to shake. A sudden splash in the muck several feet to his left startles him. A footstep? A frog? Something worse. Perhaps the others snuck in to scare him, he thinks. "It's just us," the wet whisper voice says. He can't place where it comes from, but it sounds close to him. Too close. And it's not the voice of any of the kids. "Lost in darkness and time," it says. He wants to run, to flee, to claw his way out if he has to. But even if he knew where to run, and he does not, his muscles refuse to do anything but shake in fear. "It's not so bad down here," another voice says, as if thick with mud. "There is serenity in the stillness, a cold, quiet peacefulness you could learn to love." He tries to yell, to cry for help, but nothing comes out. "It's thin down here," a third, deeper voice says, the words gurgling out. This time the words brush his ear like a soft whisper close up. Something wet soaks through his shirt, and just as a scream rises in his throat, there's another voice, though it's as if it's only in his head. "Don't listen to them." "You can be one of us," the first voice says quietly. "We're everywhere." There's a light touch across his arm that leaves a smear of something slimy behind. "Drop to the ground. Find the object now." This voice is more authoritative, commanding, and it breaks his paralysis. He does just that, falling to his hands and knees in the cold, wet muck. He doesn't know what he's feeling for, but he scrambles just the same. "It's close, but you have to keep searching," this voice tells him. The muck on the floor of the tunnel squelches between his fingers, and he hopes it's only mud. The wetness soaks through his jeans and even the tops of his shoes. "What are you looking for, boy?" the mud-thick voice says, as if an inch from his own. "It's only us down here. You could stay down here." "It's small and hard and heavy," the authoritative voice says. "Hurry!" Remy is in full-on panic, though he does his best to ignore the wet voices and inches forward on all fours. His left hand sinks through something thicker, slimier, releasing a foul odor. Just beyond that, his right hand brushes something hard, several small hard things, scattering them. They're too light, almost brittle. "Little gifts," the whisper voice says, once again brushing his ear with the words. "You could be a little gift." "He is our gift," the third, deeper voice says. Something grabs one arm firmly. It's cold and wet, coating his arm. It pulls him face first into the muck, filling his mouth with the foulness as he screams out. Something else wraps tightly around one leg, yanking it out at an odd angle. "One of us," the mud-thick voice says, the slimy wetness pressed against one ear. He feels it climb upon his back, the cold, heavy goo squirming in place, pressing him down further. "So many friends down here," the whisper voice says, almost soothing in its lightness. "Just relax. You are one of us now." "Hurry," the inner voice shouts. Pinned down and pressed fully into the muck, Remy relaxes. He can barely breathe with his mouth full of foul, watery mud, but he sighs at his acceptance. His one free arm stretching across the cold, wet floor of the tunnel beneath him. The whisper voice speaks right into his face, as if welcoming him home. "Yes, relax." The voice stops as Remy's fingers absently brush against something solid. It's cold and heavy, but not big, just as the inner voice said. It's smooth on one side and jagged on the other, as if a fragment of rock or something metallic. It settles into his hand nicely, like a well-worn skipping stone. The weight upon his back slides away. The grip on his leg and arm release, faintly slithering sounds spatter through the muck as whatever these things were slink away. "This will protect you," the inner voice assures him. Remy pulls himself up into a sitting position. As he wipes the muck away from his new find, he realizes that there's a faint light at either side of his vision. He can't quite make it out when staring at it straight, but the light is there, as if he's in the middle of the tunnel and can see either end. He also notices that the air isn't quite as cold as it had been, though the wetness soaking through his clothes and coating his skin has chilled him. "You must carry it with you always. This is the most important thing you will ever do," the inner voice says, as if much further away now. He stands and immediately finds the rough surface of one of the concrete walls. "Which way?" he asks, but there are no voices to guide him, as if they were never there. Still, he clutches the strange object in one hand and then shoves it into a front pocket before beginning to walk toward one end of the tunnel. As the light strengthens before him, he finds it easier to walk, though he remains hesitant, not wanting to face his tormentors outside. Now that his eyes have adjusted to the darkness, he sees that there's more graffiti and other markings deeper here in the tunnel, but none of it seems to matter to him anymore. He only wants to get out and get home. As he nears the end of the tunnel, he can see where he first entered. He recognizes some of the painted messages he saw before, as well as the empty lot beyond the tunnel's opening. He sees his bike laying on its side, abandoned. No one else appears to be here, with no sound of them nearby either. Even though it's overcast now, the light is bright, and it takes a moment for his eyes to fully adjust. There is indeed no one or nothing else but him and his bike. It's clear they've wrecked his bike. His chain half hangs off the gears and one of the tires is flat. It's also clear that it's much later in the day than it should be. The sun is now on the other side of the wall. There is an acrid smell on the bike as he lifts it, but the urine has dried long ago, and so he does not realize what the others have done to it. Their final insult. For now, all he wants is to get back home, where he can clean the tunnel muck off and welcome all of the smothering from his mom, and to hopefully avoid the kids for a while. He doesn't know yet that the kids will never bother him again, let alone even acknowledge him, and that he'll grow to hate this more than their taunts or beatings. Gone too are the days of his mother's excessive attention. It's as if the world around him has dimmed, and his place within it has grown quieter. It will take time for him to realize all of this. Still, he holds on to the strange talisman, a silent reminder of this day, and those final words. This is the most important thing you will ever do.
Edge of the Forgotten is a Pale Matter podcast distributed by the Realm Podcast Network. Our theme music was created by composer Jimmy Svensson and is available for purchase. See the episode description for more details. If you like what you've heard today, we encourage you to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your preferred podcast app, and please share this show. This helps us grow our audience, which in turn helps us produce more episodes. For more detailed information about Edge of the Forgotten, credits for this particular episode, or the production team behind this series, please visit our website at www.palematter.com or see the episode description to find out how to listen to our shows, follow us on social media, or connect with us on Discord. For a deeper dive into Edge of the Forgotten, check out our Patreon, where we offer insights and supporting information, physical and digital props, bonus episodes and recordings, and other assets that expand the story in a variety of ways. Thank you for listening.